Live. Okay. Welcome everyone to the March 17th, 2026 council meeting. A number of people have their green on tonight, which is good. There was no closed meeting before the open session. The meeting is live streamed and recorded and available on the internet by visiting the Town of Parry Sound website at www.parrysound.ca. I'd like to acknowledge at this time that we're on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe people under the Robinson-Huron Treaty of 1850 and the waterways traveled by the Métis of this region. And are there any additions or changes to the agenda? No?
Yes, there is an addition related to an item of correspondence from the First Nation chief of Magnetawan. Yes.
All right. Do we know the item number on that one?
953.
All right. A mover and seconder for the agenda then, Councillor McCann, Councillor Keith, that the council agenda for March 17th, 2026 be approved as amended. All in favor? That's carried. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? Seeing none. Mover and seconder for the minutes. Councillor Borneman, Councillor Ashford, that the minutes from the regular council meeting held March 3rd, 2026 be approved as circulated. Any comments or discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor? That's carried. Questions of staff? No? Okay. Correspondence, Ms. Johnson.
Yes, Member Garvey.
Yeah.
Thanks. We have several items of correspondence. The first is from Parry Sound resident Marion Cross expressing concerns about bylaw addressing the Oakcrest business on Seguin Street. The second item is from Chief Lloyd Naganosh of Magnetawan First Nation. He identifies that Magnetawan First Nation has a land claim. The Canadian government has accepted the claim for new negotiations in 2023, but Ontario has not. And in addition, the highway expansion, Highway 69 expansion, is identified to go through Magnetawan Reserve Number 1. So the Magnetawan First Nation is looking for support. And this is an item that, a resolution that has been added to the agenda. The next two letters are from Parry Sound Animal Hospital and Cottage Country Animal Clinic. And both letters are very similar. They're in response to the town request to consider emergency after hours veterinary services in response to a deputation made several meetings ago. Both letters identify that emergency and critical care requires continuous 24-hour monitoring, advanced life support systems, and teams of veterinary technicians and support staff to provide intensive nursing care. And neither of these two animal clinics have that support staff for a 24-hour continuous monitoring. And so the reliance is on the veterinary emergency hospitals in Huronia Veterinary Emergency Clinic in Barrie. The last item is from Tom Buck of Save Georgian Bay, Director of Save Georgian Bay. And he's identifying that TC Energy has formally submitted its initial project description for the proposed pump storage project. And this was subject to a deputation some time ago. and some concern has also been raised about this project, primarily from Save Georgian Bay and others. So the Federal Impact Assessment Agency of Canada has now opened an opportunity for the public and municipal comment period, which closes on April 6th. The letter that is attached to the agenda that's available on the town's website has links to the public comment portal and the initial project description and a summary of the initial project description if people would like to view that and make comment.
Okay.
And that's the correspondence.
Thank you. Chief Thompson, do you have anything to possibly add to 4.1?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. I guess a couple of things with regards to the letter provided by Ms. Cross. First of all, with regards to the specific issue, there was an article that was posted in the North Star that was prepared by a third party with no input from the municipality, for sure. And I would suggest that it's a well-balanced article and that people may want to peruse it if the topic is of interest to them, as it's coming from a third party who's not involved in the particular dispute. There are a couple issues with regards to Ms. Cross's letter that I think it's important to clarify. She speaks about enforcement of bylaw or bylaws with this particular issue. It's a enforcement processes through the Ontario Fire Code. The Ontario Building Code and the Ontario Fire Code are enforced by municipal employees, but they are provincial legislation, and the chief building official and myself as fire chief are appointed to enforce those acts without influence, third-party influence or municipal influence. Ms. Cross also speaks about selective enforcement of bylaws. It's fairly important for me and my department, being the enforcement arm of the municipality, that we act in a consistent and transparent manner. Whether bylaws are enforced by proactively, which we may enforce clean yards, and most definitely we enforce the building code and the fire code proactively, or if they're on a complaint or request basis, we don't do it selectively. We do it across the board. And in a situation like the one that's referenced here, we had a couple of kitchen fires in commercial operations in late 2022. And in discussions between myself and the fire prevention officer, we decided it would be a good time to conduct inspections of all the commercial kitchen operations throughout the entire town. And that was done. And any of those businesses who were out of compliance were provided guidance and time to come into compliance before any charges were levied. And that was done for all commercial kitchens throughout the town of Parry Sound. And I guess the last thing I would note is that the letter suggests that there should be consideration for people who are influential members of the community. I think it's pretty important to make it clear that when we're dealing with enforcement matters, that does not have a bearing on us enforcing the building code or the fire code or municipal bylaws. Who you are doesn't matter. It's a compliance, and all members of the community are treated the same. So thank you for allowing me to clarify those
Thank you.
issues.
Yep. Next, we have deputations, and we have President Debbie Stiverns of the Parry Sound Rotary Club. Welcome. That's the spot. Yeah.
He just said that to me and I ignored it. Good evening, Mayor Harvey and Council. Thank you very much for letting us present this evening. You'd probably rather be drinking green beer somewhere, but maybe later, maybe later. So we are from the Rotary Club of Parry Sound. We've recently added our charter date, 1936, to our name so that you are aware we have been around a very long time. This is Julie Haste, one of our newer members, and I am Debbie Stiverns, and I am the president this year for probably a year and a half. So I'm pretty excited about doing that. We currently meet at the new conference, corporate conference center on the main street. So as you know, they have new rooms, and we're pretty excited to be in there. And hopefully that with us there will help attract attention for them as well. So kind of a win-win situation. Ultimately, we are looking for our own permanent place, and there is something in the works possibly in the future for us. So we're looking forward to that as well. Well, all of you have heard about Rotary, and I'm sure that the general idea is that Rotary is a very good organization. People do good work locally, they do good work globally. But today I'd like to make sure that I kind of zero in on the very specifics of what our club does as Rotarians, as a Rotary club. All Rotary clubs belong to Rotary International, and it is an organization of 1.2 million members who are located over in 200 countries around the world. Every club, including ours, dedicates some money and some time to international projects and the global initiatives of Rotary International. Our club has a long-standing relationship with a hospital in Zimbabwe. We dedicate some money to water systems in Laos. We have money in training of midwives in Panama. We actually have an honorary member going down there to check that out next week. And of course, we support polio worldwide. That's Rotary's #1 initiative, of course. So several of our club members have in the past and sort of currently make sure that they are involved hands-on on those projects. So they go down there to make sure the Rotary work is done properly and it's done well. And of course, they want to be hands-on. We are, boots on the ground in that respect as well. So that's always pretty exciting. Now, locally, I'm sure you want to know what we do right here. So I'd like to point that out that in the last year, these are some of the things that we have done. So we have given $61,000 to the new community complex, to the pool, $10,000 to the West Parry Sound Health Center, $3,000 to hospice. Collaborating with No Frills and Crofters, we were able to help the Salvation Army produce and complete Christmas dinner hampers for 100 families. We actually exceeded our goal, and the remaining money, of course, we donated to the food bank. Through our sales of 50/50 tickets with the cruisers car shows, we were able to give money both to St. Peter's Public School and the Parry Sound Public School for their breakfast programs, and even to help replacing an oven at one of the schools. Valuing our youth, we have made donations to the Singers Youth Basketball, to the Air Cadets. We sponsor the Rotary Adams hockey team. Maybe you saw those little cuties in the Christmas parade giving out candies. Great fun, great fun. Of course, we support the Forest School. We give 2 bursaries every year at the high school to the deserving students. Also, recognizing that even with all the wonderful support systems that we have in our healthcare system, there are gaps. And occasionally individuals find that they need extra money to get maybe medical aids. And so we might get a request from DSAB, from occupational therapists, anyone in those fields that recognize someone would need help would put forward a request to us, and we would make sure that the best we can that they get. Usually it's like wheelchairs or lifts or something in that medical kind of field. So we do groups, we do projects, and we do individuals in our community. And normally, this is where I ask a municipality for money. Well, that'll be different tonight. That we are indeed having our cancer, Rotary Cancer Strikes, no, how does that go? Rotary?
3-pitch.
3-pitch, Strikes Against Cancer. There we go. 3-pitch on June 20th. And the town has always supported us in kind. So we don't need this money as some of the other municipalities have donated to us. But it is a big event. It is for the hospital. And I hope you'll keep aware of that we are indeed that's coming up to us. So one of Rotary's slogans is, "Together we do better." Now, that not only means Rotarians do better together, it means Rotarians do better when they work with committed individuals, communities, organizations, businesses, all of those. And we are indeed blessed to have many of those with our organization. I want you to know it does not go unnoticed. We know how much all of those people help us do our work. So my goal here today is simply to provide you with an update of our club that's been proudly serving our community, almost 90 years in September, the anniversary. And just to be clear, I am not a charter member. I am not quite that old. But I have been around a while, 15 years plus, I think, with the organization. So what I am asking for, I suppose, is your continued confidence in our club and that we support and work together to create a vibrant, healthy community. So we're happy to answer any questions if you have them, but also I'd like to invite you, any of you, to our club meetings. As I said, we're downtown now. We are the second and fourth Tuesday of the month, 4 to 5. I know, business hours, but you are invited. And we are also always looking for new members. So if that happens. So again, thank you very much for letting us present.
Thank you. Any questions at all? Councillor Ashford?
Just a quick comment, a bit of a thank you. I had a hospice board meeting before this, and there was a big sigh of relief. Some news that the Rotary is helping, not just in making a donation, but also spending time helping us with some of the things that we don't have the capacity to do, the fundraising and the different social work with that Rotary was had signed up. We didn't even have to approach. Rotary had approached and offered to help with things. So it was just a really wonderful thing to see the work that Rotary has been doing in our community.
We are very committed to working with the organizations, and in some ways we are the hands-on people, but we also are the facilitators for the experts to do what they do best. And we help them, whether it's in monetary or it's just helping out, being the, taking the tickets at their event for their fundraiser. So we are whatever you need us to be.
Councillor Keith?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm just wondering, Ms. Dribbins, how many members do you have in the Parry Sound area for all the volunteer work that you do?
Good question. So we're a very small club at the moment. So we have 10 active members, but we have several honorary members, which are usually retired sort of thing. So again, we're the core. We receive the information. We do the assessments of what we think the town needs. And then we work really, really hard. Got to say that. Won't deny that. We work very hard, but also we have many, many people that help us do that. We have friends of Rotary, and they're the easiest ones to get. They're the ones that say, I'll sign up for that bake sale. No, I don't want to come to your meetings, but I'll sign up for that bake sale. So really, we don't have too much trouble doing an event like that, but we do need members so we're always looking for more members.
Well, my additional comment would be that I think with still the small numbers of members, with all the work that you do, it's really commendable, especially in a time where less and less people are willing to volunteer the time. So it's really commendable, and I say thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
Councillor McCann? Thank you very much for coming this evening and telling us all about what you do. Tell us about correct me if I'm wrong here, the Paul Harris Fellow Award. We often read where members receive that award. Can you tell us how they've earned that award and maybe just a little bit of history behind it? I know it's a very special award, and for those who have been honored with it, it's something to be proud of.
Well, absolutely. So I'm not the best person, unfortunately, to do that. But Paul Harris, of course, is the originator of Rotary. It started with 4 men in Chicago who got together, and it started out, and it is fellowship and service in that order. They started out, they wanted to be business people that could, develop friendships around not just business, right? Initially started with that. Then they decided that, of course, that they needed to do some service. And the first service project was public washrooms in Chicago. And I saw a picture and it's like a little outhouse on the corner of the street in Chicago. So, and then of course, you know, the rest is history, as they say. So Paul Harris Award, again, in recognition of the originator of the organization. There's sort of two ways to do that. Again, I am not the best to promote this. Our foundation chair would do that better than I. But if you give a certain amount of money, then you can receive that award. And then you can get added diamonds as you give more and more and reach certain benchmarks. But there are also people in the community that can receive it. You do not have to be a Rotarian. So we have had some in our community that have done that, and it's the amount that you have contributed to Rotary.
I think you've done an excellent job in describing it.
That's right away. That's great on my mental notes.
Thank you.
Counselor Bileski?
Thank you, Your Worship. I do, my son is a past president of the Rotary in Barrie, one of the Rotary, I believe Barrie has
Yes.
two charters. And they have luncheons on Tuesdays, and I'm fortunate enough to get invited to join them the odd time. And it's free for me anyway. Like free food. But anyway, yeah, when they go through the things that they're involved with, it was just mind blowing when I'm watching it. They're going down through this meeting of, okay, we're going to help this, we're going to help this, we're going to help this. It's very, very impressive, the amount of help that they give to the community that nobody knows about a lot of times. You know, they just help. For years, they did the fireworks on the lake shore and other things they did. And it's just, and then they have the Lobster Fest, I believe it's called. And I like that too, because I go and get lobster. But anyway, I just wanted to mention how good that the Rotary appears to be, and what I've seen of it and what I've seen of it up here as well.
Well, I'm taking mental note that we need to do some food events to get you to come to those, free food.
Oh, I like that.
So I've got notes on that.
He is
But
looking,
very good job. Thank you very, very much for your service.
he is looking for free, right? Just so you know.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Nope. Thank you. And thank you for everything you do and everything you're going to do.
Great,
So,
thank you. We are
appreciate
very excited about looking forward to the events that we can do. And again, if we can grow our core, the more we can do. So that's what we're looking forward to. So again, thank you very much for your time.
Well, thank you for being here. Okay, so next is reports, and we'll start with Councillor Borneman tonight.
Happy you did, because I'll keep it quick this evening, Your Worship. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. On the 11th of March, Mr. Cairns and I, well, actually, Mr. Cairns attended the ICE CAP meeting, and I was in and out because of technical difficulties, as he said. So things continue to march along there. We seem to be attracting greater membership, and people continue to move forward with plans to reduce their carbon footprint across the area. And there seems, as we go along, to be greater public sector interest. Maybe not commitment yet, but interest, which is a start point. Last Friday, the 13th, along with the chair at Belvedere, Councillor Wing from Carling, we took the local reporter Julian on a tour of the building. The move downstairs is completed. I think Julian's article will be in the local paper very soon, and you'll see a number of photographs, both from the room, the area that's completed and the area that's now under demolition. Some people are thinking that things are moving along slowly, but I think we're pretty much on time, and you'll now, as the weather improves, you'll start to see more progress being made at the front of the building. And finally, I guess I get to be the first to say congratulations to Mark Idison and Team Canada. Don't put that red carpet away just yet, Mr. Mayor. Get it cleaned up and ready to roll out. Hopefully we'll have him here in the very near future to celebrate. And that's my report.
Thanks. Counselor McCann?
Thank you very much. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and fellow councilors, staff and public. With a name like McCann, I should have been wearing green tonight. I apologize for that, but I'll wish everyone a very happy St. Patrick's Day. I've got some fond memories of St. Patrick's Day celebrations. My family came from the Ottawa Valley area on the Quebec side. And as a kid, I can remember some interesting celebrations with some great Irish music. So, but yeah, just to add to Councillor Borneman's comments, we're no sooner that we just celebrated Megan Oldham's Olympic medals that we find ourselves with another golden reason to celebrate with Parry Sound native Mark Idison leading the Canadian wheelchair curling team to a gold medal this past weekend. And this was after beating defending champion China at the final game of the Paralympics on March 14th. Canada's wheelchair curling team accomplished something else over the weekend. It made, and I don't profess to know a whole lot about curling, but it made history with an undefeated round robin. And this medal is Mark's second in his career. So congratulations to Mark and the Canadian team. For Mark, he's no stranger to the podium. As you know, he's won gold before and a couple of bronze. So we're looking forward to celebrating with Mark and his family in the near future, just as soon as everything can be worked out. I'd like to take this opportunity to extend condolences to the family of Donald Brickett, who passed away. He was 91 years old. He died on March the 7th. Don was a teacher and a vice principal and then a principal for the Peel Board of Education. He was actively involved in his community. He helped with the new immigrant families adjust to life and the education system in Canada. He ran all kinds of things like running clubs, school activities, was coach and trainer for his son's many hockey teams. And he became a member of the Rotary Club down there in Mississauga. And when they moved to Parry Sound in '99, became a member of our local Rotary. And we just heard all about that this evening. He also served as president of both clubs. He is quite a pillar of the community and he will be missed indeed. So we wish and send our condolences and sympathies to the Brickett family. And that's my report.
Okay. Thank you. And Counselor Belaski?
Thank you, Your Worship. I too would like to congratulate Mark Edison for the gold. I personally did not see that final match, but my daughter who has curled and I have curled as well, but she said the last shot was an impossible shot to make. That
It's a good shot.
Was it a good shot?
It was a good shot.
Yeah,
Really good
so-
shot.
So congratulations. It's nice to see Parry Sound be put on the map like that. And then on March the 9th, I attended a Chamber of Commerce meeting. I'm the town advisory, I represent the town on that board. And it's a very active board. They're gathering members constantly. It's getting bigger. I think it's very, very well run. It's interesting to see the future the way they're looking at it. It's very good. And on the 12th of March, I attended a meeting for Park to Park. That was a Zoom meeting, and it was just business as usual. And that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Ashford?
Biggest news, is, just with the Tamarack North Center. All the parts of the pool are there. So, everything's there. It is just getting, I don't know how you weld stainless steel, but they're doing it. And pardon?
The bottom's not there yet.
God, all the walls of the pool
All
are
the
there. Got to be more specific, sorry. So they're welding away, getting that baby together. And all the parts of the therapeutic pool are there.
The bottom's not.
The
there
bottom's
yet.
still not there in the therapeutic pool as well, but they are putting all those walls up and they're moving all the stuff out that has to be moved out in order to finish and get all those parts put together. So to me, that was very exciting news, a little bit less so now about the floor, but still pretty great news. And just for the happy St. Patrick's Day, I don't know where this has come from, but it seems like all children of a young age are building leprechaun traps. So the plan is catch the leprechaun, get the gold, right? And the power gems or whatever that are under that pot of gold that they're all talking about and into. So my house is covered in leprechaun traps. So I wish anyone else who is trying to catch one to the best of luck trying to get those leprechauns tonight. Thank you.
Thanks. Counselor Keith?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, fellow councilors, staff, and the public. My report will be very short. It only amounts to I was in attendance with the mayor when we met with Detachment Commander Walls to discuss about how we can make our community more safe in respect to roads. And further information is being investigated and researched, and I'm sure down the road we'll be coming back to council with some sort of recommendations. And my last comment would be, I watched all of curling and the Paralympics, and I have to say, if Mark could hear me for that last goal, I have a strong voice, and I can tell you I got excited and I was giving instructions to the TV, but I don't think he really needed it. He did a fine job, and I'm hoping down the road we'll be able to do a fine job for him as a Parry Sounder, as certainly this is a great accomplishment for gold again. So I'm very proud of him. Thank you.
Thank you. Council staff and public, March 5th, as Councillor Keith just mentioned, she and I met with the OPP Detachment Commander Wall and Sergeant Van Erp to discuss a number of issues in the community that even besides traffic, which was good. It was great to have that conversation. And actually, Detachment Commander Wall was leaving for Ireland, I think, a couple of days after our meeting. So she was going to County Cork to visit her 125 relatives that she's got there. So I'm sure she's still there celebrating. So which is good. March 9th, I attended a virtual MEPCO meeting. It's the Municipal Employee Pension Corporation that oversees OMERS. And right now we're dealing with a number of issues with the sponsorship, which was the sponsorship corporation, which set rates and oversaw the other committees, and the government has stepped in and now has their fingers meddling in the committees, and they've now got a sponsorship council, which has taken the teeth out of the corporation. And I think you're going to be hearing more about it, but really and truly, pensions should not be dabbled in by the government. It should be up to the people that are paying into it and receiving the benefits that should be coordinating this. And anyway, they've seen fit to do so that way. So yeah, you're going to hear more, I think, a little later on. March 11th, as Councillor Ashford mentioned, was the Tamarack North Center or Recreation Center meeting. Yeah, it's moving along really, really well. They've got a lot done inside. They're just waiting for the basins to come in so that they can finish that up. But otherwise, they're moving along like super fast to get this done. which is absolutely great. March 12th was a district social services board meeting, and you should have got your report for your weekend reading. Okay, good. And was mentioned, congratulations to Mark Idison on gold for Canada in the curling, the Paralympics. And he was also got to be flag bearer as well, which I thought was wonderful. I went on Saturday right after and visited his father, and you know, he's going to talk to Mark and figure out when Mark can be here in Parry Sound, and you know, what the family's comfortable with, and whatever that is, we will work at trying to do and have a celebration for him and his family to honor the achievement, which is astounding. So, you know, we're proud of Megan, proud of Mark, and just I think it's absolutely wonderful that a small community like this has, you know, been able to foster some Olympic champions. So kudos to them, and kudos to the families for supporting those individuals as well, because that is super important to get to the level of where they are, is that they have great family support in what they're doing. So anyway, we will proceed and work at something. Yes, Councillor Borneman.
I wouldn't mention this otherwise, but I thought you might, you and I attended one night recently, I forget which, to the chamber after hours was honoring Mr.
geez,
Bejan
yeah.
on his retirement. It was a
Yeah,
terrific night over at Legends.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I only mention it because I think we all in West Parry Sound owe a debt of gratitude to Ron and his many years of service here, and um, the help that he gave both municipalities and private enterprise through his position with FedNor.
no, I thank you for reminding me of that, because it slipped my notes or whatever on that. But yes, it was a well-attended event, and it was very appreciative of the chamber and Legends to put that on along with the CBDC for support for that particular event. And I think Ron has done some amazing work for this area in getting, you know, funding and support for people to fulfill their dreams and goals and that sort of thing in their businesses or whatever they wanted to do. And you know, he's kind of a guy that just is there. He doesn't want a lot of fanfare or anything like that. And I think you know, people really appreciated what he did. So it was nice to have an event like that. And Noel is his new, Noel Walker is his new, the new Ron. And what's that? 2.0, that's right. Yeah, seems like a very aware young fellow, and hopefully some good years ahead of him. And the three of us closed Legends that night, so that was that was our night. Anyway, yeah, thanks for reminding me of that. On to the agenda. Item 911, moved by Councillor Borneman, seconded by Councillor McCann, that the 2025 statement of remuneration paid to council and appointed board members attached to Schedule A be accepted. Any discussion? Councillor McCann?
Um, Ms. Phillips is away today, but I did send an email. The amount that's listed under expenses for my name, this time last year, I made a note of that, and I had forgotten that I had sat in for you at the Founders Circle, but I don't know what this amounts for this year. I don't recall spending any money this year, so I just wondered maybe if if
I-
that should be looked into.
Just, she is online right now.
Oh, is she? Oh,
But it- she is there, but you've asked, so she can look into it.
okay. I didn't realize she was online.
Yeah. You can check into that, Ms. Phillips?
Yes, no problem. I can look into that
Thank you.
when I return. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Oops. Item 912, moved by Councillor Borneman, seconded by Councillor McCann, that the Council of the Town of Parry Sound does hereby approve the draft consolidated financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 2024 in Schedule A as attached, and that the 2024 draft financial statements for the Provincial Offences Act in Schedule B be approved as attached, and that the 2024 draft financial statements for administration of land ambulance services in Schedule C be approved as attached, and further that council hereby approves the allocation of the surplus in Schedule D. Any discussion? Ms. Phillips, do you want to give a summary of what you've got
Yes,
going?
I'd be happy to do that.
Okay.
So the 2024 financial statements are on the agenda for council's approval. For the year, the tax levy surplus compared to the budget was 1.8 million. So 975,000 is recommended to be transferred to the town pool reserve to ensure enough set aside for capital expenses based upon 27% of the town's share of the 2.15 million future sponsorship amount and 1.46 million still to fundraise for that project. So this is just to ensure that our portion is covered in case we need it. And the remainder is allocated per the surplus deficit policy to tax rate surplus and a capital asset replacement. The town received a clean audit opinion that the statements present fairly the consolidated results of the operations, and the annual surplus for financial statement purposes differs slightly just to how they're reported. So spending on capital assets differ for reporting purposes, along with debt repayment, for example. And we have Emma Roy and Glenn Venturchek here from BDO to present the council the financial statements as well, and to answer any questions council might have related to those. If there are any more questions, I can also answer that at the end as well. So I think it would be a good time to pass it over to them.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Phillips.
You're welcome.
Evening, Your Worship, members
Hi.
of council.
Good evening. How are you?
Not too bad. I'd like to also introduce Emma. Emma is the senior manager within BDO. She's just coming back from mat leave, but very helpful in coordinating and getting us to this stage as well. I wasn't going to go through every line item of the financial statements. I was going to maybe give you maybe 4 or 5 quick highlighted points, depending on how much time you want to provide for that.
4 or 5 quick highlighted points are probably good.
Yep. Okay. As Stephanie had highlighted, it is what we call a clean or an unqualified audit report. And I just kind of want to reiterate that this is consolidated. This includes the ambulance, the provincial offenses, the library, the business improvement area. And just so everybody is kind of aware, the Lakeland Holdings, the hydro that the town has components on, it is from a financial statement perspective treated at cost. So the numbers you see in there, that's the original outlays. That's what the town has invested in. It's not at market value. So it's not necessarily something that if you turn around and plan to divest, it's only treated at cost. So I wanted to make sure that that's clear. Other municipalities might do things differently, but That's the way we interpret the rules of the accounting things. So the other thing I wanted to highlight is on page 4, if you really wanted to follow along, there are things called financial assets. These are your receivables and bank and things like that. There's 65 million towards that. Then total debts, including items that are helping finance long-term nature items, your total debts are 31 million. So it leaves what we call net assets, and that's 34 million. Then from there, you add to that your total of your tangible capital assets, long-term projects like bridges and buildings and things like that. Those are not used typically as a, it's for services and things like that, but they're not going to be sold per se. So that's where, as Ms. Phillips had highlighted, you have $166 million basically as your surplus. And then certain things are allocated from reserves from there. So I just kind of wanted to highlight, you do have net assets of 34 million. That's even after factoring in any of the debt. There was no brand new debt in 2024. It was just debt repayments to be paid against it. From a revenues and expenses, there were 47 million of revenues and $38 million of expenses. Those are fairly close and in line with the prior year. So it means you had more revenues than expenses by $8 million. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to reduce other areas. It just means sometimes you need those revenues to help stockpile for future needs. The rest of what I call the financial statements, they're statutory in nature. You have to have these types of disclosures in order to get that unqualified audit opinion. I wasn't going to go through all those lines line by line, but I will certainly field questions if we have any. So I'll turn it over to you, Your Worship, if you want to parlay out to anybody, if there's any questions at this stage.
So I'm going to say some of that, I guess a question off
Sure.
the hop would be some of that 8 million that you're mentioning.
Yeah.
That could be some unspent money that on projects that weren't finished or didn't get started.
Yeah,
that
that could be part of it.
Yes. Okay.
Correct.
Because I know there were some projects from that particular time, and then also we have some projects from 2025 that haven't been completed as well. And so there is going to be money showing again next year as surplus because of that situation. So I think that would be a fair assessment of, I think, of why a good amount of that money is there. Ms. Phillips?
Yes, so that as well as sometimes we transfer things into reserves planned through the budget. So that can be part of it, as well as we may budget for capital projects that are carried forward to a year, like you mentioned. So that's something that happens for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Any questions from council? Councillor Ashford.
There's one section in the notes to the consolidated financial statements on page 20. I think section 12 of that. It's part of the long-term debt. Ms. Phillips probably remembers that every once in a while I lose my copy of this particular list and have to ask her to find it for me again. But I noticed that in that section, it kind of goes through the different interest, the gross interest expensed per year, and then it goes kind of into the future. And I didn't understand exactly what that was, as if it was the principal we got to pay every year or the interest only, or how that. So I was just wondering if we could just kind of give an overview of that particular section. And then after 2029, it's just thereafter, which I presume is the remaining balance at that point. That there's no point in itemizing it any further in the future after 2029. But maybe just a little explanation around that. I was having a hard time figuring it out.
So in 2024, there was $658,000 of pure interest that were paid on those debt. 2023, it was $732,000. And that's just the interest. That's not the principal portion. So there was probably another $1 million of principal that was paid down against the debt. All right. So that helps explain that first paragraph that's on page 20 that kind of outlines what the interest was. And that goes through your statement of revenue and your expenses. So that was expensed. The next little chart that kind of outlines from 2025 for the next 5 years, that is the cash that's required to fund the principal of that debt. Okay, so it's not just principal and interest, it's the principal component of it. So there's 982,000 that's needed for 2025 to repay the debt on those various loans that are outstanding. I think there's 13 or 14 of them on the previous page. So our accounting rules say we need to disclose at least the next 5 years, and some keep going out many more years after that. So that's why that thereafter, that $11 million captures everything else that's owed 2030 and onwards. All right. But our accounting rules kind of have to outline that we know that there needs to be cash of 982,000 that needs to be used to repay that debt. Does that help explain that for you?
It does. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Counselor Barnman?
Sure where he went, but the gentleman from the audit firm mentioned that the number that's in our audit annually with respect to Lakeland Power remains constant. I've never understood that. The company grows and is more or less profitable year over year. Yet, you know, our percentage of ownership doesn't change, but the value certainly does. And why does it stay the same in the audit statement? And what are other people doing? You mentioned that others may account for this differently. I'm wondering how other people are accounting for these numbers.
So I'll try to keep this very high level so that people can appreciate. So on page 15 of the audited statements, there's a note 7, and it kind of outlines a bit of the history, and it says that you own about, I'm going to call it 15.57% stake in Lakeland Holdings. So you're not able to control it. You have some influence. You can't control the board. So without that type of control, if you owned more than 50%, or if you had the ability to control the board, then you would be able to say, yes, we want to consolidate it, and you'd recognize it not just at cost, but because your percentage is 15%, our accounting rules say you show it at cost, and we disclose pertinent information about what's in the statements, but you would only show it at cost. So it's based on what our accounting rules are kind of outlining. I will also outline, as Emma and I are working our way through some other municipalities. Some of them would say, is this hydro a partnership or a joint venture? And their accounting rules can slightly differ, but we view this as being you've got ownership in it. So that's why you're still using the cost method. If you're really kind of a partner and a different basis that way, then you might account for it at a cost plus the accumulated amortization of all the retained earnings up to that point. But at this stage, because of your ownership structure, is recorded at cost. And it's basically what our accounting rules.
Your mic, please.
So just to be certain, if the town ever contemplated selling its share in Lakeland, that number would have no influence on the valuation.
No. Agreed.
Okay. Any further questions? Not seeing any further questions. Is that everything from everyone online then? Okay. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, I think we're good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. Moved by Counselor Borneman, second, Counselor McCann, sorry, second by Counselor Borneman. The council accepts the bid from Precision Markings Incorporated for pavement markings of town streets from 2026 to 2028 in the amount of $37,069.20, excluding taxes per year for 3 years, this being the lowest compliant bid of 6 bids received and to be funded each year's annual operating budget. Mr. Bonanza or Mr. Kearns? Anything you want to add? Mr. Bonanza, okay.
I just want to add to as well, and we'll just through it a little bit. So just high level, some of the changes that we brought back this year. We switched it to a 3-year tender. So and we've seen a lot of interest this year, more than since I've been here for bids back. So we've had 6 bids back. I did, excuse me, we reached out to, we've never used precision markings before. I reached out to the references. They had very good references. I had a very good conversation with a colleague of mine from actually Innisfil, and they've had some challenges like we have. And since going to this company, they've been very pleased with what they've got out of it. We've also hearing some of the concerns, added some redundancy into the contract where we have liquidated damages that we can apply if it goes past that certain date. We have, me and myself and Mr. Kearns have consulted and wanted a realistic date of June the 12th is what we put, and anything past them, we can apply those liquidated damages if necessary. And just some of the thought process behind it is sometimes we have really bad years. I've seen in my past us get snow on May long weekend. I know nobody wants that, but it is all weather dependent. And the big thing, once the snow goes, everybody's like, we need the lines. It takes us at a big amount of time to get the streets clean so we can paint. So we just went back and forth and found a reasonable date. It should be completed by before we put those liquidated damages on to the contractor. So
yeah. Was there any further? Councillor Bileski?
Thank you, Your Worship. Mr. Bonanza, through to His Worship to you. By going to 3 years in advance like this, you've kind of addressed it by giving them a date that they got every done by, because I think before we were kind of depending on when we passed our budget on how we were getting in line to get it, how we were in the queue. And now we're going to be in the queue for the next 3 years. That's going to work great. The other, I guess, I've had some experience with the painting, and I know the environmental concerns. Now, what we're getting doesn't last very long anymore. By the end of summer, you're starting to wander off the white line because it's not there anymore. Hopefully that they can look into it and see if I'm sure they're looking into it, but see if we can get it so that it lasts a little bit longer than what we've been getting, because we could almost do it twice a year the way it's been going. So I'm sure you're going to look into it for us and see if you can get product that's going to last a little longer. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Keith?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Bonanza, there's another thought I have in respect to these 2 target dates of the May date and the June date, and it has to do with tourism. Would it be the plan that also, because we depend a lot on tourism, and so obviously seeing the lines on the road are pretty important, because people obviously when they come here, they've got a plan to go to A, B, and C. And I'm just wondering, do you feel that we have more tourism tourists coming in really in June rather than May. So therefore, having it nice and bright in June when it looks really fresh is actually a good memory to also have in mind. Does that bear anything in your thought process?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So, yes, it does. We just needed a drop dead date just in case winter ran long, but if the weather permits, as soon as possible, we're getting out there with our sweeping units, getting the roads clean and getting it painted, getting the Tron tractor in as soon as possible. With those, biggest thing is we have those temperature thresholds too. We have to hit the paint. So as soon as we can, we're getting out there sweeping, and as soon as we can, we are getting it painting, but we just didn't want to have that deadline too soon where it kind of wasn't realistic sometimes if winter drags on. So it was just a drop dead date, but we are doing this as soon as possible.
But what I'm asking, would you think there's more tourists coming in June time than for a May date, which is what we've had before?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I can speak a little bit to it. More, I've seen people moving north is more full-time residents. So, you know, the off seasons are getting a little more busier. So we are looking at that as well. So.
Any, Councilor McCann?
Oh, I was just going to add that with all due respect, and it's nice. It's good to have the town looking sharp and clean for tourists, but we do run into a real safety issue. I know myself that there are, if you live in town and you're familiar with where the lines should be, you're okay. But there are corners such as where Church and Seguin meet up, and if you're turning onto Wabick Street, it's a bit of a tight fit there, and half the time strangers don't even know that there are 3 lanes there rather than just 2. So I think it is a safety concern, especially on Bow Street as well, where it's rather busy. I'd like to see the markings as soon as possible.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to say as well as, like I said, we're doing it as soon as possible, and it's not a local issue, talking to other municipalities, and looking at the timelines and everything pretty well syncs up what everybody else is trying to accomplish as well. I believe last year we were painted, sooner than even Huntsville and that across and the other way, and swept sooner. So, we're trying the best we can to have everything done as soon as possible to provide that level of service for summer. So.
Councilor Keith?
Yes, one thing I'm wondering about, Mr. Baneza, I thought some of the town staff, the public works, do some painting, some of the markings also on the pavement. And are they done at a different time, or can they possibly be done sooner, even if we're still waiting for the contractor to do the main job?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So yes, our town staff does crosswalks, stop blocks, parking spots, accessible markings as well. And our staff, as soon as we are finished sweeping, our staff is usually out there prior or alongside the contractors getting all those painted as well. We are looking at different avenues as well with the thermoplastics and stuff like that. We've had some success and not so much success with it. So we're still working through that as well. So they're not lasting as long as we'd like to get our value out of it at the moment. So.
Any further? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Moved by Councillor McCann, second by Councillor Borneman, that council approve the waterfront master plan substantially in the form attached, and that the chief administrative officer and director of development be delegated approval authority for the final document, including finalizing the land acknowledgement and reviewing the updated concept plan for the salt docks. Who's talking about this one? Jeremy? Mr. Rand, are you?
Yes, thank you, Worship. We do have Jamie Robinson here as well, but
Okay.
I would just like to say that staff are very happy to have this before council tonight. It's been an interesting project, certainly from a public consultation perspective with lots of feedback. We're really happy with the success of the project. The resolution before council tonight does allow for approval of the document substantially, but does allow staff to continue discussions with Wissahickon that would enable us to finalize the land acknowledgement section. Should there be any substantial changes, as you've noted, staff will bring a report back to council for approval. So Jamie Robinson from MHAC, was working on the plan with his team, is here tonight, and he's prepared to comment on any changes to the plan since it was last discussed at council.
Mr. Robinson, do you have any comments you want to share with us?
Just briefly, Your Worship, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Yep. So just briefly, we did consider the comments made at the last council meeting. We have made some modifications to the design specifically related to the salt dock and added some parking to reflect those comments. Beyond that, we've just refined, we've ensured and done a proofread of the document, a finalization of the document with town staff. So we think it's in a position to for council to give its blessing to the document with staff to finalize once we've got the land acknowledgement piece in place from the First Nation. So really not much has changed since since I was here last time, a few weeks back, except for addressing the council comments. So if there's any questions, I can certainly do my best to answer those.
Thank you, sir. Any questions? Councillor Keith?
Just for clarification, if this is passed tonight, it's my understanding that still the Waterfront Advisory committee would still be able to afterwards make some recommendations as to what they're hoping for priorities with this master plan. Is that correct?
Through your worship, I believe that was the discussion at council. Certainly welcoming any comments from the Waterfront Advisory Committee in terms of prioritization of those action items in the report, and any ideas to, would help staff and council move those items forward.
Councillor Keith?
Yes, thank you. And the second question had to do with, do I understand if this is passed tonight, also there's kind of a drop dead date in reference to funding, if we'd like some funding there. Can you explain that, please? Just clarify.
Thank you, worship, to Councillor Keith. Certainly given the funding requirements from FedNor, I don't know if it's tied to their year end, but we did have a date in which we needed to get the waterfront master plan approved by. We're certainly comfortable with the 90 some odd % of the document that is complete, with some wiggle room for Wissahickon comments to be integrated into the land acknowledgement.
Councillor Borneman?
Question, it's kind of a statement. I wanted to thank Mr. Robinson, our staff, the Waterfront Advisory Committee, and all of those people who came out to the public meetings that were conducted.
Yep.
I think having that open process, it resulted in a better product at the end of the day.
Yep. Yep. And the general public that came out as well.
Yeah, that's what I had mentioned that.
Yeah. Councillor McCann?
Thank you. Yeah, a lot of work has gone into this, and just to echo Councillor Borneman's comments, a particular thanks goes out to so many people who took part in this. I know that at times throughout putting all this together, we've talked about these are nice ideas. When do they come to fruition? It's not going to happen overnight, but the public will see this. And if it is approved tonight and any changes that may be made, I'm sure, it's just human. I'm sorry. It's just human nature that you're going to start to wonder, well, when will we see things happening as far as maybe like the salt docks with the beautification there. And so what will the public expect to see, or what can they expect to see over the next 5 years in some of the projects and plans that have been visionized here?
Do you want me to take a real high level approach to that?
Sure, how high do you want to go?
If we can afford it, we'll
Yeah.
do something.
And that, of course, is the funding, yes.
So whatever happens is going to decide on basically be built into whatever we can afford to do. And we'll try to do, some stuff in here, but, we have, with the economy and everything the way it is, we have certainly some things that we have to consider. But it's nice to have something that people can work towards.
Oh, I agree. Definitely, it's a vision that we have. And so it sounds like fundraising initiatives and slowly but surely we'll get there.
Councillor Ashford?
Yeah, just my 2 cents on it is as I read through again, I see this is substantially complete and a reflection of the input of the community and the hard work of staff. So I speak in favor of this tonight, certainly. But I also want to just make sure I'm sure we're all thinking about, just make sure I know for myself that in no way does that undermine any of the importance of having the land acknowledgement right with Wissahickon. I think we're all saying the same thing, but I just wanted to make sure that I noted that although it's substantially complete, it is still an essential and important part of the document.
Good. Anything further? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you.
Thank you,
Step
Worship
forward.
of Council. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate everybody's effort on this.
Moved by Councillor Bielanski, second by Councillor Ashford. The council directs staff to enter into an agreement with McSweeney and Associates to complete the town of Parry Sound's economic development and tourism strategy for a total cost, including non-refundable tax, of $59,565. And we have Mr. Tom online or whatever. Is there anything, Mr. Tom, you want to add to this?
Yes, thank you, Your Worship and members of council. Myself and Mr. Harris, the CAO, are really excited about this opportunity to launch the economic development and tourism strategy for the town of Parry Sound. And we're excited to be recommending to work with McSweeney and Associates. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. So fire away if you have them.
Councillor Ashford?
I was pretty excited when I saw this too, so I think I'm glad we're moving along in a great direction. And I was just wondering, as this particular part, is this what kind of consultation? Is this a consultative part where they're looking for input and searching that out? If so, how? Or is this more, we have the input, we have the information, and we need help kind of putting it all together?
Fantastic question. And through Your Worship, the Mayor, yes, this is going to be a very consultative process. So this is the embarkation of the the consultation process. It's going to be a very fulsome review of existing documents, both in the municipality of Parry Sound and some of our partner municipalities. We're going to be looking at local economic development, regional economic development, and tourism in a very comprehensive way. Part of the RFP laid out pretty extensive expectations that the town has with respect to public consultation. That includes members of the public, but very importantly, it includes the businesses of Parry Sound. It includes tourism operators within Parry Sound, and of course, stakeholder consultation with folks in the economic development space. So that includes the Chamber, the Downtown Business Association, FedNor, NOHFC, and the list goes on. So yes, the expectation from of the town to McSweeney is to work very extensively with them to make sure we get fantastic and relatable data and public input.
Okay. Councillor Keith?
Yes, thank you. Just for clarification, does that mean in looking at all areas, one will also be examining the possibility of something like the MAT tax?
Great question, and through the mayor. Yes, the MAT tax will be a key component of this strategy, strategic planning process. So if we think about the strategic plan, it's not going to be two separate plans. It will be a comprehensive economic development and tourism strategy, but there will be some focus, specific focus on both tourism and economic development in kind of separate buckets, if you will. The key ask that the town had through the RFP and what we will expect as a partner with McSweeney moving forward is not just consultation with respect to MAT, but feasibility study with respect to MAT, which will go into looking at the data in Parry Sound, looking at doing accommodations inventory, feasibility studies, revenue projections, but also really reaching out to the tourism community and the accommodations community to make sure that everyone's on the same page, to gather feedback, but also to educate the public about the benefits and the power of a MAP program and the positive impacts it can have on Parry Sound. So the vision of this, as far as what staff is expecting, at least at the outset, is that yes, there'll be significant consultation, feasibility, and then recommendations for successful implementation of a MAP program.
Anything further? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Tom.
Thank you, Your Worship, and members of council. Have a great evening.
Moved by Councillor Keith, second by Councillor Ashford. Council of the Town of Parry Sound hereby supports the Township of the Archipelago's Resolution 26026, which formally requests the Province of Ontario maintain local, independent, municipal governed watershed-based conservation authorities, and that Council does not support the proposed Eastern Lake Ontario Regional Conservation Authority boundary configuration as outlined in Environmental Registry Notice 0251257, and that this resolution be forwarded to the Minister of Environment, Conservation and Parks, the Minister of Natural Resources, Premier of Ontario, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, and the area municipalities for information and support. Any discussion? All in favor? That's carried. Moved by Councillor Ashford and seconded by Councillor Boleski that Council of the Town of Parry Sound hereby supports the nomination of Mayor Jamie McGarvey to the OSIM Executive Committee for the term of 2026-28. Any discussion? Councillor Ashford?
I just want to speak in favor of this, and first with a thank you for putting this time in, and also for the second part of that is that I think the next thing coming up under bylaws, where we're entering into transfer agreements and having grants and things being awarded to the town. I think a lot of the work that you're doing on these committees, which if I understand it correctly, you get on this one, then you got to go be part of another one, and like I'm sure, I think I don't know, it was last Christmas or the one before, you're driving back from Collingwood in the storm, to try to get to the Christmas train, like you're all over the place in Ontario doing these things. And I think some of the stuff that's been going really well in our community happens because you've been putting that time. So thank you, and I support this wholeheartedly.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. It does take time. Yeah.
So in other words, Mr. Mayor, you're very good at playing hopscotch.
Yeah, I had to. But yeah, it definitely does help our position and the community as a whole. Yeah. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Ashford, second by Councillor Boleski, whereas Magnetawan First Nation MFN has expressed concerns with the Highway 69 expansion running directly through Magnetawan Reserve Number 1, with no confirmation yet by the Ontario government to negotiate an existing land claim. Now therefore, the town of Parry Sound requests that the provincial government clarify its intentions with respect to the land claim and resolving the issue of an additional MFN lands being taken for the expansion of Highway 69, and that this resolution be sent to Premier Ford, Minister of Transportation, MP Scott Aitchison, MPP Graydon Smith, West Parry Sound Area municipalities, the municipalities of Killarney, French River, and the city of Greater Sudbury, and the First Nations of Magnetawan, Hinvey Inlet, and Shawanaga. Any discussion? All in favor then? Carried. Thank you. We can let the chief know as soon as possible. That'd be super. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Beleski and seconded by Councillor Ashford that bylaw number 2026-7583 being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a transfer payment agreement with the Ministry of Infrastructure regarding funding under the Municipal Housing Infrastructure Program Health and Safety Water Stream be considered as read a first time. All in favor? That's carried. All members in favor of having the second and third readings? That's carried. Moved by Councillor Beleski and seconded by Councillor Ashford that the bylaw above mentioned be considered as read a second and third time passed, signed, and sealed. Any discussion, Mr. Kearns or Mr. Bonanza? Is there anything you want to add to this?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just that this is in relation to the anticipated improvements, upgrades, and expansion of different parts of the wastewater treatment plant, including the headworks building, which is the first stage of treatment at the plant, and our tertiary treatment train, which is the final stage of treatment at the plant.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Any questions, comments? No? All in favor then? That's carried. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kearns.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Moved by Councillor Keith and seconded by Councillor Ashford that bylaw number 2026-7584 being a bylaw to revoke bylaw 2022-7249, which provided for refunds of permit fees for construction of an eligible accessory dwelling unit within an existing dwelling unit with the intent to allow for rapid development of additional accessory dwelling units be considered as read a first time. All in favor? Carried. All members in favor of having the second and third readings? And that's carried. Moved by Councillor Keith and seconded by Councillor Ashford that the bylaw above mentioned be considered as read a second and third time passed, signed, and sealed. One of you gentlemen want to give a brief synopsis of what we're doing? Mr. Vander.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor and Council. In a position that's largely controlled by legislation, you can imagine occasional assessment has to occur to various bylaws that are in place, including the main municipal bylaw that regulates a lot of our day-to-day operations. In this particular case, we're working towards a new comprehensive building bylaw that implements a lot of industry standards and things that are generally needed to be updated. Upon the assessment of this particular bylaw, that's the subject of this report, many factors were reviewed based on the information that's been collected over time since its implementation in 2022. Due to the results, staff concluded that the subject bylaw may be revoked as per the information and statistics gathered and provided within the report. So I'm really just here to answer any further questions you may have. It's a long report, I understand, so there may be some particular questions.
Councillor Beleski.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you to Mr. Vander. In reading this, I was surprised that your comments were that some people would apply for this, to add an addition to their house. And in fact, just make their house bigger. That's basically what's happened, that they've applied for a benefit to a building permit to add an apartment. But in reality, all they've done is made more living space for their own family.
Just to clarify, the point I was making within the report was that that it would be possible for somebody to do that. I don't have any record of that actually happening, but again, it's possible that they could benefit from the program without actually intending on using it as intended.
Okay, one more, your worship. You suggested that the target was four. Four four families, we'll say, per lot. Is that the way I was reading it?
Well, no, the target was as many as possible at the time.
Okay.
It turned out that we only ended up having those four.
Okay. What would the four be? What, one would be an apartment above a garage, one would be an additional building on the outside, or?
Yes, so on attachment number 3, I have listed over the years the numbers of permits that were refunded for those eligible ones. I have some rough notes that accidentally got into the attachment itself. So with that, I have some details about that. But generally speaking, they were an apartment that was created within an existing house. It wasn't within a detached dwelling because that actually isn't one of the eligible permit criteria. So it was within an existing dwelling, either in a basement or in a section of the house.
Okay. May I, for your worship, just for a minute? So would it be open then that you could build an additional structure on the property as well as that? As well as building an apartment within the existing home? Is there, does this permitting or your targeted is to allow, say, an additional building be built on the back part of a lot that's big enough and or put an apartment above a garage sort of thing. And this is just for clarification. I just didn't understand it all. Maybe that's all.
Yeah, through your mayor. Since the implementation of this bylaw, some changes have occurred within the planning legislation, including the ability to create some of these accessory dwelling units within the detached ancillary buildings on the property. One of the most recent, being last March, was the ability to not only have an apartment created within a detached dwelling, which originally was permitted in the upper floor of a garage, say, and the relaxing of the rules through the housekeeping bylaw for zoning last March allowed ancillary dwelling units in detached buildings to be within any part of that building. In addition, there is multiple dwellings allowed on each lot. Typically, they're required to be designated as accessory or ancillary dwelling units, but there are changes coming that are looking at actual multiple dwellings on more than one dwelling on one lot as of right, and not necessarily needing to consider them accessory dwelling units.
Thank you, your worship. And I just maybe make a comment. The city of Barry's been doing this, I guess, for, I don't know when they started, a few years now. But I've seen some lots where they've done that, where they've added one additional building to a lot. And boy, they're not keeping their properties very good because there's a disagreement over who cuts the grass. I hope that if we get something like that, we don't have that problem up here on keeping the lots clean because they are a mess. a terrible mess. And another reason, your worship, why I mentioned this, I think it's a great thing if it's done properly. I'm not too sure how many homeowners in Parry Sound are aware of it. And by bringing this forward now, that maybe they'll be aware of it, and because we do need housing. We need places for people to live. And if there are more people we could get involved in this, I think would help us a lot. Because we've always thought we need employment, we need housing. You need one to have the other. This is a start where if you have the housing, the employment should follow up on. And thank you very much for bringing this forward.
Thank you.
Anything further? Counselor Ashford?
I tried everything I could to get this rebate and I couldn't do it. So I can see why it's become a little obsolete and is ready to move on to something a little bit more effective for us. So thank you for bringing it forward.
Yes.
And thanks very much, through your worship. Just to add, the one example I did provide within the report spoke about the exemptions for accessory dwelling units and ancillary provided through the development charges bylaw and the servicing bylaws, which actually are considerably more of a benefit to any existing homeowners that are looking to add one of these units into their buildings. Before I ran the numbers, I actually didn't realize how big of an impact that was. So it was an interesting exercise to check into.
Counselor Keith?
Thank you. It was my impression from reading this report, not only was the request obviously for revoking of the refund, but the amount of time that staff was using for this, it just didn't seem like risk reward. It didn't seem like it was paying off very well. It seemed like staff was using much more time than in reference to the refund. And it might have been a good idea initially, but it was time to let it go.
Yeah, thanks for your worship. Obviously, as explained in the report, a lot of these types of permit applications do come from homeowner designed type of involvement and things like that. And when you do have I guess, no, they're not all beginners, but when you have people that aren't as familiar with building code requirements, especially with the renovation section of the code that is not necessarily black and white, maybe the grayest area of the code, it can get fairly complicated. So yes, the time spent on these projects can be definitely more when you take it in relation to other projects.
Okay.
And sorry, and at the time, again, of the implementation, some of these other programs weren't in place, like the exemptions.
All right. Okay. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Moved by Councillor McCann, second by Councillor Borneman, that bylaw number 2026-7585, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council, be considered as read a first time. All in favor? That's carried. All members in favor of having the second and third readings? Carried. Moved by Councillor Borneman, second by Councillor McCann, that the bylaw above mentioned be considered as read a second and third time passed, signed and sealed. All in favor? And that's carried. So prior to adjourning, I'd like to offer the following information to the public regarding the next meeting. The next meeting of council for the town of Parry Sound scheduled for Tuesday, March 31st, 2026 at 7 p.m. It's an operating budget meeting. The meeting will be held at the town of Parry Sound Council Chambers, 52 Sequin Street, entrance via Gibson Street. It'll be live streamed and recorded. All regular council meetings are held at 7 PM on the first and third Tuesday of each month, except January and August, where only one regular meeting scheduled. Council meetings scheduled, notices of special council meetings, complete agendas, minutes, and instructions on accessing live streamed and recorded council meetings are all posted on the town's website. Go to www.parrysound.ca and use the search bar. Thank you, everyone, and have a good night.